And speaking of the historical side of things, this rivalry dates back all the way to 1962, the World Cup, but it didn't ignite until 1986, as Nico Cantor's here to provide us some historical context from an Argentine perspective.
That match carries a different weight for Argentines, and it all stems from 1982, the Falklands War. In Argentina, La Guerra de las Malvinas. The Falklands or Malvinas sit in the frigid South Atlantic off Argentina's coast, more sheep than people. In 1982, Argentina's military dictatorship sent troops to reclaim land it had long claimed, a convenient way to unite a country it was tearing apart with human rights violations back home. The occupation lasted 74 days. Britain's forces overwhelmed Argentina's. 649 Argentines died, 255 Brits died. Back home, the war ignited a wave of patriotism. It united Argentines against an enemy outside their borders. The young conscripts sent to fight and often die became martyrs, national heroes. Still today, Las Malvinas are everywhere in Argentina. Flags, songs, tattoos, stickers, the islands shaded in Argentina's colors.
At the World Cup, fans still sing for the fallen soldiers who never made it home. What does England-Argentina mean? England-Argentina means a battle that always has left scars, a battle that is fought physical, it's historical. We fought for land, we fight on the field. We have a lot of emotional ties to this game. It's one of the last games where we've seen Diego be great. One of his two most historical goals were scored against England in '86. So it's just very meaningful, very emotional. The players are gonna play not just for a soccer game, but for a whole country and for a lifetime waiting for this moment.
If that's the feeling today, imagine 1986, Argentina versus England, World Cup quarterfinal. Maradona scored with his hand, symbolic revenge for Las Malvinas. Minutes later, the greatest goal ever scored. Maradona immortalized before even lifting the World Cup. To this day, Argentines celebrate Maradona's cunning. We stole a goal from the thieves of the world. The English, they say, are pirates, pointing to centuries of empire. The rivalry flared again in 1998 and 2002, Simeone and Beckham's red card, then their World Cup rematch, but the deeper wound still traces back to 1982. For England, the Falklands are a footnote in a much longer imperial story. For Argentina, they're a defining national wound.
The English feel cheated on the pitch, and the Argentines, well, they feel cheated in history, or so their national trauma says. It's the only rivalry that spans an entire ocean, and the reason why it'll never fully fade. Hey, today I hugged my dad. I was in the press box upstairs, and I was able to see him. Listen, I want to say a couple of words for the generation of my dad and the Argentines that are like him, right? I don't want you guys to understand the diplomacy. I want you to understand the Argentinian psyche. You're born, right? Either my dad or a younger person in Argentina, and all you hear about is about this war against England, that the Malvinas, the Falklands are Argentine, and everybody around you tells you. And then on top of that, you believe it, right? It's taught in schools. That is the rhetoric in the country that you live in. It's your reality. So you hold deep down in your heart this contempt for England, and now we're in the present, in this globalized world. Hatches have been buried and olive branches have been extended. I love you guys and you guys love me. I'm Argentine and you guys are English, right? But for the Argentine, their reality deep down inside, I know Lionel Scaloni wanted to downplay this rivalry, that history didn't have that much influence. But that's impossible for the Argentine, the common Argentine, to take away. That's why this match meant so much more, and the fact that they beat England to get to a final of a World Cup, that Messi was on the pitch and influential against England, for Argentines, especially my dad's age, that perhaps knew someone who passed away or knows a veteran from that war, it has a different taste that perhaps if you're not Argentine, you won't understand.
Well said, Nico, because it just shows as well the huge contrast between how passionate English and Argentine fans were feeling, obviously, for this game. But you won, you're through to the final. Just very quickly before we let you go, are you going to defend your title?
Yeah. Argentina. It's going to be very difficult to beat Spain, and I'm afraid that perhaps this emotional high is very high. Argentina's going to have to dig even deeper, but you never know. This pack of dogs, this brotherhood can do anything. And even if Spain on paper is the better team, 90 minutes in a World Cup, it's not a semifinal, it's not a quarterfinal. There is so much glory on the line. If I had to back a side, I would back it with my heart. I think Argentina could repeat it and pull off history that we haven't seen since 1962, when it was the last time that a team went back-to-back.
Let's take you back in time. The 1962 group stage in Chile. England won 3-1 with Bobby Charlton on the score sheet, his only goal of that tournament. 4 years later in the quarterfinals at Old Wembley, Geoff Hurst was the difference in that meeting. He'd end up scoring a hat-trick in the final. 1986 quarterfinals, Estadio Azteca, Diego Maradona scored 2 iconic and very controversial goals en route to their second star, wearing blue, by the way. Then fast forward, France 1998, another iconic knockout fixture. This time, a young David Beckham was sent off for retaliating against Cholo Simeone, leaving the 3 Lions to lose in penalties. 4 years later in Japan, David Beckham, well, he redeemed himself, scoring the only goal from the spot after Mauricio Pochettino gave away a penalty to England. So this is the comparison then of the trophy cabinet, England against Argentina. 1 World Cup back in 1966 to Argentina's 3 World Cup titles. You can see no Euros as well, even though the 3 Lions have come very close in the past, and Argentina have dominated in the Copa America, winning 16.
I mean, don't remember it too well in the sense of, you know, being there young. But for me, it's something that is always spoken about, playing football in England. One thing that was always brought up, you know, when you start playing football in England, born and raised in England. So it's something that English football fans never really forgot or forget.
It's like they never get over it. It's just passed down through the generations,
It's always
right?
passed down through the generations. If you love football, it's a story that's always told. And then obviously the story continues after this moment. And obviously it's a heated rivalry between England and Argentina. And obviously England always has a lot of heated rivalry between other nations as well. But this is one that sticks out to the older generation of football fans that I mixed with. And it's something that's always passed down, spoken about, and still never really forgotten.
I think as well, that goes to Greta's point, right? That I suppose from an English point of view, that's cheating. But it's actually a historical moment in World Cup history. Also, that Argentinian way of doing whatever it takes to win. So that speaks to Greta's point. Obviously, I personally think it's cheating, but it is what it is.
That's the culture aspect of it, because Troy makes a great point there, as well as Greta. It's the cultural aspect of it. You know, being English, we'd look at that to say it's not honourable to do that. Like, it's not the right thing. While Greta, obviously, like Argentinians, will probably look at it as like, we'll do whatever it takes to win.
Greta absolutely loves that happened.
I listen, I don't love that it happened against England or anything like that, but I do love. Well, like, growing up in an Italian household when I was young, like, we appreciated a good dive every once in a while. Seriously, it's the art of the game. And so, like, if you could take advantage of something like that, to me, it's brilliant. Also, from one perspective, is that, like, you fooled so many people and the officiating crew and everything to get that goal and to make it happen. Then he followed it up with one of the best goals in World Cup history.
You know what? It's also funny you say that, because if it would have been any other Argentine player that did that, would it still be spoken as much as it is now? But when it's the greatest, and at that time, probably one of the greatest players who played the game of football, because it was him that did it, it just added to it. And he was a big character. You love Maradona. He wasn't shy to tell people how he felt or to be who he was.
Wasn't he?
He was a unique character that was very proud of who he was, where he was from, what he represents. And the fact that he did it is obviously something else that makes it such a bigger, unique World Cup moment.
And then fast forward to the David Beckham moment. David Beckham.
Yeah, this is more my era.
Yeah,
I was 10 at this point. So,
Obviously, we remember this moment, right? Because he flicked his back leg and Simeone fell over, dived, made most of it, and then had David Beckham sent off. And the ripple effect from this moment was massive.
I'm glad you bring that up before Troy gets in there, because this is what the fans have to understand about how big this rivalry is. This is David Beckham that you love yourself, Poppy, as well. After this moment, he was booed and villainised in England for a very long time.
Booed was the least of it. He got death threats, everything.
It was so bad just because of the rivalry and the passion of the English fans and losing the game in the manner which they did. The other thing I would like to highlight is we talk about Simeone was the one who went down. This is tough guy, big guy Simeone. And we know he's a big guy, could probably handle himself. But to go down soft like that and point and get David Beckham sent off goes to the dark arts of the game, as we would say. Because really and truly, if it was let's stand up and have a scrap, Simeone would love that. But he did it to do whatever it takes to win the game, which is something that a lot of these, I would probably say a lot of the Argentine players in today's game will do the same thing. It doesn't mean they're weak or they can't really handle themselves, but they'll play the dark arts of the game to try and get in the referee's head and try and do whatever they can to get one over their opponents. That's part of the whole streetwise and street smart.
Yeah, and I think to add to that, when you think, well, I think back to like newspapers and there was David Beckham, like mannequins being like lynched, hung up on lampposts and set alight. That's how bad it was back in the UK at that point. And then it's great. I think there's just a positive to spin on this because there is a lot of animosity and negativity between the two countries for way more reasons than I'm smart enough to get into. But I think there was a nice moment in this World Cup, which we've seen, which was the two guys actually taking a picture together. And I thought this was a real nice moment. Obviously, you're older, you're wiser. We've all buried the hatchet. Now, Bex is getting grief for burying the hatchet. It's like, that's the most English thing in the world. Yeah. We can villainise you, but you can't bury the hatchet with anybody else. And I just thought that was just like one of the nice moments of this World Cup, that they buried the hatchet. You rolled your eyes, Poppy. You want to explain why?
Exactly why. That's why, part of the fan base.
Yeah.
But it's also like...
It's almost like you can't help it though, right? Because I was only 6 actually at the time that happened, but I was even just talking to my dad about it this morning, and I do remember, it was one of my earliest football memories, is that happening, because it was such a massive moment that David Beckham has been sent off. And not long after that, we went to watch Forest at Old Trafford. And I remember David Beckham being booed by his own fans. And that was just the...
Is that the Owen game as well, right?